Yeah. Yeah, this is, I guess, the calm before the storm. Yeah. What do you mean batten down the hatches? I don't know if I have hatches. I wouldn't know how to batten them if I did. Okay, yeah, later. Okay. Hey, welcome to Season 6, Episode 3 of Niagara 411 Live with Sterry. We are fueled by Gale's Gas Bars, also supported by Sandra's Home Healthcare, Verge Insurance Group, also Verge Insurance Group, as I mentioned them, and my goodness, Ace Alignment and Mac Outpost. We are presented by, I don't know why we're advertising for Pepsi, but Fiddler's Poorhouse. These are your specialities for today. WeeStreem powers this program as well, and we are at this lovely Fiddler's Poorhouse at 149 St. Paul Street, St. Catharines. Come on in, it's cold out here. That's why I doubled up on my sponsorships. My brain's starting to freeze. Anyway, we've got some guests coming on the program today. It's been an interesting couple of weeks since we talked to you last. There's a GoFundMe page set up to try to bring a gentleman back that is having a bit of a problem while he's on vacation in the Dominican. There's a brand new apparel line called We Can Do It Better. WeCANApparel. Local Niagara fellow has designed and created an apparel line, and we'll tell you more about that as we go on. Garand is going to be with us. And there was some pretty spectacular automobile accidents and stuff. And I guess like we were talking about out front, the big story today for us, we're waiting for the weather to arrive. We'll do that in just about 30 seconds. Come on in. Here we are again. Welcome into Fiddler's Poorhouse. It feels colder outside than it did earlier this morning. I think we are preparing for the weather dome, like Thunderdome, the weather dome to move in. Welcome into Fiddlers. By the way, happy to have you here for our Season 6, Episode 3 of Ye Olde Programming. And let's talk about the weather right off the top here, because that is always the big story. Oh, first of all, check out Kevin's hat. I mentioned a gentleman off the top of the program, young man from Niagara, lives in St. Catharines, originally from Welland, that has a brand new apparel, clothing line, brand, just having been released. And you're looking at it right there, and we'll find out what's behind that a little bit after 1 o'clock today. We'll do that. Kevin, welcome to the program. Kevin, by the way, executive producer of this show, the grand creator, as I call him. We just refer to him as the creator.
Yeah, thanks. That's a pretty ominous title. All right, the creator.
You are the creator.
Yeah, it was chilly out there, though, Lee. I mean, it says, there you go, -5 feels like -13,
yeah.
So no wonder.
Yeah, I mean, I should have put the parka on to be out there in the office. Nevertheless, here we go. See, and this happens a lot in Niagara. We get these weather statements, and we get these fear-mongering things that go up. And there's the official one: freezing rain expected late this evening into Thursday morning. But we're supposed to get some snow before that, but we're not sure how much snow. 5 to 10 centimeters before it changes to rain, or freezing rain and drizzle and all that hoo-ha. Points north, like Toronto and north of Toronto and east down toward Belleville and Kingston down, that's supposed to be one of the worst areas. But it's going to be packing a punch somewhere. And it's probably a good idea if you get your traveling done, if you have any traveling to do, get your traveling done before late this afternoon. It's supposed to kind of get a little ugly going into this evening. Now, My close personal friend Kevin Jack, who is also a hockey nut, says this is a good thing because it means nobody can make you go outside and you can stay home and watch this hockey game.
Yeah, good opportunity, Lee. I mean, don't want to even go outside tonight. I'm sure I've already had one of the kids had an activity tonight that got preemptively canceled last night.
Oh, okay.
I think we're staring another snow/ice day in the face for tomorrow, probably across Niagara. We'll see what actually happens. I'm
so be paying
closely.
be paying attention to the posts and if you're concerned about buses running or schools opening or closing or whatever, probably a good idea to pay attention to Niagara 411 in the morning.
Much of Ontario is going to be shut down. I mean, here's what.
Precipitation will begin as snow late this afternoon, and a winter weather travel advisory is in effect. Snow is expected to transition to freezing rain late this evening before changing to either snow or rain Thursday morning. And they don't really know how much where. Snowfall rates could be 5 centimeters per hour. Hopefully,
if you see here, Lee, I mean, this is more of an Ontario shot from the Weather Network.
Yes.
They're saying 25 to 35 centimeters for cottage country, eastern Ontario, 20 to 30 just north of the GTA, and then 15 to 20 in the city of Toronto.
Right.
So what
15 to 20, we're not going to get that much here.
That's significant, 15 to 20, yeah.
Well, for Toronto, it's a lot. The city shuts down. When Toronto gets 15 centimeters of snow, they can't move there because they have nothing to do with this. They have no place to put the snow.
Oh, gosh, it's also going to be windy. 50 to 70 K, so it's just going to be flat out.
Oh, that's what I said. If you have hatches, you got to batten them.
Yeah, it's going to be ugly.
Down, whatever that means. And we're talking about cottage country. You saw some of the shots over the past week on the various sites, including Niagara 411. Hi, Nick, by the way, and the Nick's mom. Glad to have you along for the bride. Of the Orillia area, like up Highway 11 and up through Barrie, and oh my gosh, it was carnage on the roads there. And I have to go along with some of the comments that we saw on the site related to that. And people have this tendency these days, for some reason, to feel that maybe because they're driving a higher tech vehicle or they got an SUV or something like that, that you don't have to pay attention to actually how to drive in the winter in Canada. Well, you still do have to pay attention. Because I remember, Kevin, do you remember in the Toronto Star, in the wheels section, there used to be a great automobile reviewer, a guy by the name of Jim Kenzie.
Yeah, I knew exactly whose name you were going to pull out there.
I used to love reading his stuff. And I was reading the Star and Kenzie's reviews way back when the SUV just started to be a thing. These car companies were just starting to turn out these all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive vehicles, etc. And one of the things that he said that always stuck with me, I don't know why, but it was one line. He said, you just have to keep in mind that the technologies are great. And the SUVs, yeah, they're a good idea, but he said, really, if you're not a decent driver, all the SUV does is get you stuck deeper and farther from home. You still have to be able to drive the damn thing. Right? It doesn't drive itself. But I think some people think they do. They can do, I've got all this technology. I got four-wheel drive, I got snow tires, I get and then they find themselves in a whole world of hurt. So
what do you figure happened here, Lee? This is
now
just late last week, 9 in the morning, so morning commute.
This was a chain reaction thing, wasn't it? There was
was
a lady posted what happened, and believe it or not, they got out okay. Nobody was really hurt in this, but it sure looks, talk about a world of hurt. But there was like a rear-ending situation, and it became a chain reaction of vehicles. Now, why that black SUV in the front, that four-door vehicle in the front, caught on fire, I don't know, it must have ruptured a fuel line or gas tankers or something.
So, Lee, the chain reaction here actually involved a school bus. So what happens is, I'll get to some more of the photos.
Yeah, that's right, too.
But neither of these two cars that you see photoed here were actually responsible for anything.
No, they just got...
Yeah, there was a pickup truck that rammed into the back of the white car so violently that it pushed the black SUV into and underneath the back of a school bus, and I guess almost immediately burst into flames.
Why are cars bursting into flames these days? Why do we have... There were a few flaming cars around Niagara over the last little while, but that's that has got to leave a mark on your psyche. This is something that is going to stay with you. These people, God bless them, for a while. This is a PTSD thing. It'd probably take you a while to want to get behind the wheel of a car again after going through something like that, especially if you didn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, so in the comments, Lee, a lot of people posted their own photos, and they included, here's another, and there you can actually see the school bus.
Well, this was the post that was written by the woman that was involved in the accident, was it not?
And there you could still see that the pickup truck
smashed into the... Yeah, there's all four vehicles right there. One of the nose of the one in the back, then the white car, then the black SUV, then the school bus. Wow.
Yeah, and this was...
Oh, my God.
There you go. Now, Olivia and I were in an accident today.
Yeah, and this...
you can't quite read the top, so thankful we were okay. The pickup truck who rear-ended me
when I was at a complete stop to turn left smashed into me so hard that caused my car to cause a chain reaction, putting Olivia and I right between two cars. The driver of the pickup truck just backed up and completely fled the scene. If anyone was at the scene or knows anything about this pickup truck, please reach out to me. So thankful for okay. Well, we're thankful you're okay as well. So, man, how do you leave a scene of something like that? Was the person impaired? But it's 9 o'clock in the morning.
I know you hope not.
Exactly, you hope not. But why would you go? Why would you back up and leave a scene, even if you could? None of those other cars were even drivable. But the one that caused the whole thing was able to drive away. None of this makes any logical sense.
There you see it right there.
My goodness.
So
Kevin, how traumatic is that for the people in those vehicles?
So this is on Glen Ridge. Just trying to figure out where exactly. Nice park behind it.
Yeah.
But I mean, there you see 3-car.
Unbelievable.
And this is before the SUV caught fire. But that's scary. That's scary.
It really is. I'm obviously I was speechless just looking at the pictures again, and I've looked at them enough times.
Yeah, you go. How fast was the black Ram truck to hit the white car that was stopped?
It had to be going a pretty good clip. I sure would like to know why. Is it lack of attention? Is it one of those distracted driving things, somebody on their phone?
That's a great picture right there, Lee.
Yeah, look at that.
Like, I would say that white car's totaled.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, and the black one that was on fire, that's how they...
That's totaled.
That's an insurance claim.
Looks more blue now, doesn't it, than black?
Yeah.
In that photo.
In that shot.
Yeah.
In that shot.
Right under the bus. I don't believe there were kids on board the bus.
You read my mind, Kevin. I was just going to ask rhetorically whether there were any children on that school bus. Now, school buses are fairly substantial. They're built pretty well. So there wouldn't have been a lot of damage done because they ride high. As you can see there, that black or blue vehicle went like right underneath the rear bumper, sort of. So they'll have to replace the bumper. The school bus will be all right, but the driver probably felt a little bit of whiplash-like impact.
Absolutely.
Hey, man, that's awesome.
Now, Lee, there are some conversations out there, and I noted in the comments, somebody was very quick to say, is that a Tesla? And people are quick to jump to that. I will tell you, though, that,
Tesla doesn't make a car that looks like that.
I'm not a conspiracy theory guy or what have you, but studies are showing that when electric vehicles catch on fire, that they are extremely more difficult to put out.
Oh, they're very dangerous. Firefighters do not like electric car fires.
And I don't know if it's EVs that I'm thinking of, but the water might not necessarily work on them. Now, maybe I'm thinking of something else. But there's a fuel source there with all the batteries as opposed to the gas tank.
It's very dangerous. I mean, you think flaming gasoline is no party either, but electric vehicles are, they come with their own set of challenges. And firefighters do not like electric car fires.
Here's another photo of that car fire.
Jeez.
So, Lee, I've looked into it, and believe it or not, the incidence of cars catching on fire is actually much higher with what they call ICE, internal combustion engines, than they are with electric vehicles. However, when electric vehicles catch fire, they're a lot more dangerous and do a lot more damage.
Well, the thing is, stats, you can get wrapped up in statistics. I would think that internal combustion engines stats would be higher because there are more of them.
They just meant percentage-wise.
But they're
percentage-wise. It is more likely...
Per capita, you mean?
Yeah, it's more likely that an internal combustion engine catches on fire than an EV vehicle. However, when they do catch on fire, it's very problematic. So we got to figure this out.
Yeah. It's not the quantity of fires, it's the quality of fires, I guess, is the issue. But there still seems, irrespective of whether internal combustion or electric, more is one than the other, we just simply seem to be having more car fires in general. Regardless of what kind of car it is that catches on fire, it just seems that there's more of them. There's one on the Canal Parkway that was on fire. Saw one on the highway, a picture of one on the Queen Elizabeth Highway the other day. Why are these things catching on fire? I don't get it.
This was one that you saw on 411.
Yeah.
Of a car on fire at the Canal Parkway.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. The one on the Canal Parkway, yeah. Like, why? Was this a single? I don't think there was another car involved. I don't think it was. Block 7, isn't that near where the museum is?
Yeah, I think you're coming up into Feulled right here.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, you can't see it too much because here, I'll pull it up. The graphics are kind of hiding it there, but
still,
I mean, that's a lot of smoke.
We can see this shot pretty well. We can't see flames, but that's a big black smoke thing going on there.
Yeah. So when firefighter personnel arrive on the scene, and this is an electrical vehicle fire, they got to take completely different precautions.
Absolutely.
It's crazy stuff. Lee, just show-wise and moving along,
yes.
Really excited to talk to Jasmine Jasudavicius.
Wow, she is. Jasmine became the first woman to win a UFC competition match in the Middle East. Just in Saudi Arabia.
Crazy.
I mean, you know the challenges that women have in countries like Saudi Arabia on a lot of different levels. And we're not going to go into all of those today, but women are challenged in certain countries in the Middle East, and Saudi Arabia, one of the main ones. And here we have two females fighting, one from Brazil and our Jasmine fighting in Saudi Arabia. Like, I'm surprised they were even allowed in there to fight in Saudi Arabia. Nevertheless, they were. And Jasmine Jasudavicius, I call her a force of nature. This girl is just unbelievable woman. She's what, 35 years old now, which is it's starting to get up there in age for a UFC fighter. She joined the sport later in life compared to some, but man, she's killing it. Just crazy. She's going to be joining us about 12:40. Coming up in a few minutes, Catherine Dodge is going to be here. She's a St. Catharines woman. Her husband Mike is in the Dominican. Had an issue down there. There's a GoFundMe page set up, etc., to try to get him back home so he can rehab properly and be looked after here. Get his health back, etc. We'll find out all the details about that story. Gales Gas Bar is sponsoring the program, of course, as you see there on your screen. And with us now for all 6 seasons, and actually before we even called it a season, they were sponsoring us. Kevin and I had no idea how long this gig was going to last. We didn't know that Niagara 411 Live would have the kind of legs that it has had, but it has, and Gales Gas Bars has been with us the entire way, and then some. So we appreciate more than you would know Jessica Friesen and her gang for supporting the program. Jessica, I think now is on a very well-earned vacation. I think the family is taking a trip somewhere, but Gales has not taken a vacation. They're still doing whatever you need. All petroleum here in Niagara. Also, Sandra's Home Healthcare setting the bar so high for healthcare here in Niagara since, I think, I want to double check this, but I think, since 2005, Sandra's been in business. Compassionate, in-home, personal service worker healthcare, 24/7 if required. And that's really what it boils down to. They will provide whatever is required by the right people at the right time for the people that you care about. Sandra's Home Healthcare, just pleased as punch to have them here. Verge Insurance, whether it be home, whether it be car, whether it be life insurance or business insurance or whatever, Verge Insurance Brokers is the place to go. Again, a Niagara born and bred company, which is what we like to deal with here over on Ontario Street in St. Catharines. Ace Alignment for all of your automotive needs. As you see there on the screen, wheel alignments and suspension work and brakes and front end repair and you name it. You need an inspection done on your vehicle, they can do that too. And accredited Ace Alignment, they're on North Street in St. Catharines, just behind the police station on Welland Avenue. So just tucked in there off Geneva Street. And our newest sponsor, this is, I guess, their third or fourth show now already. Time flies. Mac Outpost in St. Catharines. I cannot say enough about these folks. They're on Lake Street in the Dollar Tree Plaza. They're right across from Dawn's Lighting in the north end of St. Catharines. Everything Apple. And I mean everything. Sales and service and consultation and training. And, man, they know their stuff. I'm an Apple guy. Kevin's an Apple guy. I would have been lost a couple times if I hadn't been able to walk into Mac Outpost and say, help. and they're there to do that. So we really appreciate them climbing on board. We do have Catherine Dodge waiting in the wings here in our green room, and we're going to bring her right on. And that's the Facebook post. That's the GoFundMe notification that popped up over the past week or so. Help bring Mike home and support his recovery. The $10,000 goal, and they're almost there. But $10,000, when it comes to bringing people back home from the islands, from a second or third world country, man, it's not cheap. So keep it coming. Katherine, hi. How are you today? Can you see and hear us okay?
I can. Good morning or good afternoon.
I guess it is good afternoon. Mornings, they all just become one after a while. Anyway, good day.
That's very true.
Good day. Happy to have you here. Without further ado, tell us Mike's story, will you?
For sure. So Mike Dodge is my father-in-law. Very lucky to have him in my life. Sweetest man alive, texts me every day that he loves me, and
okay.
Just very kind-hearted, and he spent a good majority of his life dedicated to spreading that same love and the same joy to people of St. Catharines and of Niagara, because he worked with the Niagara Health System in the St. Catharines General as an OR, or a porter and an orderly, taking people back and forth from the OR. So he's been there with a lot of people at their worst, which is why so many people, I'm sure, have heard of him or been touched by him in some way. He is retired now, and he likes to enjoy vacation, as we all do, and he usually spends his time going to Jamaica every year. And this year he decided to try Dominican Republic for the first time.
Oh, for the first time?
The last time. I don't think it's quite yet. So he visited the Dominican Republic, was having a great time with his friends, and last Monday he ended up succumbing to a medical emergency. His friends took him to a private clinic. He did have travel insurance, thankfully. Not really sure. I'm sure we could discuss a little bit more, but I'm not exactly sure what that looks like yet.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still there as of now. I'm hoping that he will be home tonight. Knock on wood. I know that there's a lot of things going on with the weather, so just everyone right now is really praying and hoping that he'll be back tonight. But it's been 8 days.
Wow. Okay. And is he in hospital in the Dominican?
So it's a private clinic.
Okay.
No, he's not in like their public hospital.
All right.
I have to be very clear. Like I'm not exactly sure I understand too much, just because I'm not there, and I've never been to the Dominican Republic myself.
Right.
But from my understanding, it's a private clinic, and he has been under care with a nurse and a doctor, and they've just been fantastic. And the doctor, Dr. Ruiz, she keeps myself, my husband, and other people up to date through WhatsApp, like on her off time when she's there. She's really adopted Micah as somebody that she wants to see get home as well, and it's provided us a lot of just comfort knowing that he's being so well taken.
Katherine, I know that the people that are watching this have questions because just people are curious, and I realize it's neither here nor there. But I'm going to ask the question I know that's on everybody. What you say? Medical emergency? Was it a heart attack? Did he have a car accident? Did he break a hip? What happened?
Yeah, the reason we're kind of keeping it a little bit more private at this time is. It is an issue that he's going to need to recover from when he gets back home, and I don't know what that looks like, so I'm protecting that at this point.
That's okay. But that's okay. I just had to ask the question.
Yeah. From what he suffered, though, it will come with an assessment through Canadian healthcare, and there will be next stages of recovery. At this time, I'm not comfortable getting too much into it because
totally fine. Totally fine.
We don't even really know the extent of it because he hasn't seen our healthcare yet.
All you got to say is, what you said. We're keeping it close to the chest right now, and that's cool. But I know everybody would say to me, "Well, why didn't you ask her what happened?" So I asked the question. I did my job.
Yeah, definitely fair. Appreciate it.
And as I was saying before, irrespective of travel insurances or whatever, because we know that. Medical claims with insurance companies and all the sometimes it takes a long time for these systems to work through the process. So hence the GoFundMe page, and the travel is not going to be inexpensive because I have known other stories where people have had to be flown back with special health care considerations, etc., and it's not cheap. It's very, very expensive. So, so you're still looking for us to contribute if we can here, right?
Yeah, and this is something that I've never been through, and huge credit to Andrew Dodge, my husband, and his brother and sister, and our sister-in-law and our extended family. We're all working together to help make this happen. Yeah. He does have travel insurance. I don't know what anything really looks like at this point. Insurance has been
You won't know for a while either how it all fleshes out.
We've seen the bills come through, though, and they're scary for sure. So we've had some issues with communication through our insurance company, which doesn't give us a lot of confidence in how this plays out. But I gotta just say, it's one of those things that, as scary as it seems, we're really just focusing on getting Mike home and then looking at what that means. And you saying, you're scaring me a little bit. I'm hoping that...
Oh, don't let me scare you. It's just that even if things go smoothly, it still takes a while for them to play out. There are certain steps that have to go through, and the whole thing. So it takes a while to make your trip.
I wanted to hop in on that, though. Yeah. I mean, medical episode on February the 3rd. Here we sit on February the 12th, so 9 days. I mean, chances are, had this not occurred, he'd already be home. The vacation would be over.
Oh, for sure.
What have been some of the hurdles or some of the impasses that you've had or your family have had in trying to get Mike back home? Because I'm assuming from day one, that was your goal. Okay, let's get him back home. Let's get him into Canadian medical care. So why 9 days, and why is it so difficult?
I'm really glad you asked that, and it's been quite a shock to all of us how difficult it has been, and it adds to the scariness because we want him to be able to access and start recovering as soon as possible. So some of the main hurdles have been as simple as communication issues through insurance and through the various systems, the timing, the open hours, just kind of clerical administrative things like that. And then another big hurdle for us has been finding a hospital bed in the Niagara health system he can actually come home to.
I was reading that in your explanation on the GoFundMe page post, the fact that it was difficult to quote unquote, air quotes, sorry, find a bed in Niagara. I'm like the RCA dog here. I don't quite get it. Why would they not have a place for this man?
So it's, you know, this is something that I never thought of, because I just assume, like, being in Canada, being in Ontario, we have a healthcare system that's there for us when we need it. But unfortunately, at this time, I don't know if it's staffing or funding or availability or whatnot, but there's just not enough beds for the people that need them right now, and there's a wait list. And unfortunately, until they were able to secure a bed, they weren't able to start arranging his flight home or anything like that. So, and then to get to the finding of the bed, there was a lot of mishaps with communication.
All right.
Could have deflated. And you're frustrated because we're the ones sitting at home making all these phone calls, wanting to do anything we can. And then you think you make some sort of progress, and then you find out you're 5 steps behind and it was incorrect. And I'd love at this point just to highlight, again, I would have never thought to reach out, but somebody mentioned to reach out to our MPP. And so we connected with Jenny Stevens' office. And as soon as we did that, they were the ones untangling everything, sorting it all out. They got the momentum going. And very shortly after, we were able to secure a bed. So it was not something we were able to do on our own easily. And having the MPP support us and having somebody like start figuring out all the errors and help getting the correct things going is what led us to finding that bed. So I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, that's a really interesting sidebar to the conversation, because when you say, you know, like, there's no room at the inn, there are no beds, my argument has always, well, yes, there are beds, but somebody's not funding them or servicing them or whatever. It's not like there isn't a physical bed, like you know. So that's a good part of this. It's not a good part of the story, but it's an interesting part of the story. And for you to say that when you did reach out on a political level, that some action was taken, it really calls into question the entire system that we're dealing with healthcare in our province. And I don't think it's exclusive to Niagara. I think other healthcare systems in our province have the same challenges. I thought at first, was he able to, like, after the incident that he went through, would he have been able to travel immediately if you could have had a spot for him? You don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Part of his medical emergency did affect, like, blood pressure and things that we were recommended against not putting him on a regular plane because of that.
Right.
So originally he was going to be coming back on a medvac plane. I'm sorry, I'm not sure.
No, I get you.
I've heard I haven't seen it spelled out. I'm not exactly sure what it is. But he has recovered enough to be able to come back on a commercial plane at this point.
Okay, so how do we help? How do we find you?
So you can continue to contribute to the GoFundMe if you're able to. One of the things that we're also asking, which is almost more valuable than money in a sense, because it touches the heart, is if you've been touched by Mike Dodge, known as the man in the hat with the heart of gold, who has taken probably your kids or your parents or yourself or your loved ones through their most difficult time into the operating room. If you could share your story with us, we are keeping that information, and we're making sure that he gets to hear about how many people he's touched to help keep his spirits high. He loves community. He loves Niagara. He loves St. Catharines people.
Okay.
So that's another great way you could share.
So what do we do? Do we Google in Mike Dodge? Do we go to Facebook? Where are you?
Sure. So I have an active link through Catherine Dodge. I'm not sure if you could see it. You can Google Mike Dodge as well, but I'm not sure if his privacy settings are available.
Okay.
But Catherine Dodge, KTHERINE Dodge. It's a public link. I'm also sharing it to the My Downtown St. Catharines Facebook group. You could find it there.
Kevin's been putting it up on the screen as well for you. So
yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, Katherine, we won't put you through the ringer any longer. Thanks for being here. Sorry for the the stress and strain that your family has been going through for the last 9 or 10 days. We wish we wish Mike a safe return tonight. Hopefully it will be tonight.
Yes.
All right. Cheers. Thanks for being here.
The airspace.
Good luck.
I appreciate it.
Hey, you're welcome. Bye. I know a fellow, same last name, his first name is Bill, and it just popped out. Mike, safe travels. We're happy to potentially have you home tonight. Jasudavicius is going to be joining us in a few minutes. Also, you will notice when Kevin is on the screen, he's wearing a hat, and it says, "We can do better." Young Niagara man, Garand, is going to be joining us a little bit after 1 o'clock. He is the designer of that hat. And it was printed here in Niagara as well, and there's hats and T-shirts and stuff. It's a new apparel initiative, and Jean's going to be here to tell us all about that in about a half an hour.
Yeah, Lee, I'm just going to connect with Jazz here and see if we can track her down.
Okay.
In the interim, I mean, we were going to talk about all the damage to vehicles, and then overnight another one comes in from Niagara-on-the-Lake, so we'll start there. But, I mean, it seems like it's an epidemic across Niagara, to overstate it.
Well, I don't know whether it's overstated or not. And breaking and entering into vehicles is one thing. It's not good. But people do it, I guess, for a reason. They need the money or they need the stuff to sell so they can get the money to, whether it's an addiction or whether they need to pay their rent or whatever the hell it is. But this guy that you saw on the screen broke into 2 contractors' trucks that were parked in this person's parents' driveway in St. David's, Niagara-on-the-Lake area. One of them being this person's uncle. Got away with about $2,500 worth of tools. So this little break-in was fairly lucrative for this dude. Wallets and a phone. Wallet contained $500. The lesson learned, folks, try not to keep valuable stuff in your vehicles. And I understand they're contractors' vehicles, so they're going to have all kinds of stuff in there. Then he went on to buy $750 worth of lottery tickets with a stolen credit card. Like, holy cow, that was a pretty lucrative haul. One wonders whether this guy knew what he was breaking into before he broke into it. I don't know, or whether it was just luck of the draw, but that was a fairly lucrative take for this criminal that broke into the vehicles. But there have been all kinds of reports from Grimsby through Hamilton and down all around through Niagara and these vandals as well. Now this is what makes no sense to me. It's the why of, I can understand, I don't like it, but you can understand somebody breaking into a vehicle to steal things or to take money or, make some coin. But just straight, for no reason, destruction, vandalism, I can't wrap my head around it. 11 car windows destroyed by vandals in this particular night. Nothing was taken. Nothing was taken out of these cars. But thousands of dollars worth of damage done. There's just a typical shot right there. Where does this anger, this vandalism, and I guess there have been vandals around for decades and decades. When we were kids, people did stupid stuff, but why? Why is this happening? Where does the anger, the frustration come from that would inspire somebody to just wreck someone else's property indiscriminately? Kevin, it just doesn't compute for me. Sorry, I don't get it.
Yeah, and what was even more strange to me, Lee, was how often this was happening.
Yes.
I mean, you see all the damage here, but then you sift through...
Yeah, and it's not really localized. It's all over the comments.
And the number of people that say, let's see, this happened a few years ago in the Falls.
It's not a new thing. It just seems to come up in waves.
But there were so many. Happened to us in December There they are, windows smashed out for no reason, apparently. Yeah. It's
and especially
the same thing happened last night in Grimsby.
And especially since nothing is taken, it's just
it's
just wanton destruction.
Like that was what's crazy is how many people said, yeah, someone did this exact same thing a few years ago.
Yeah.
Like that's just out there, Lee.
It sure is. Want to spend it? We're going to bring Jazz in a bit as soon as Kevin tracks her down. But one of the things that has happened, of course, over the since we last had a chance to meet, was the Super Bowl, and it happened in New Orleans. And when I was getting ready to come to the show today, I came across this T-shirt that you're going to hear the sound of a zipper here. There we go. Came across this T-shirt that I bought a number of years ago, and that says, you might not be able to read it, but it says Bourbon Street, New Orleans, and with the trumpet or cornet, whatever. I bought that when my wife and I were there, and we happened to stay. We were there for about 10 days. We stayed at the Royal Sonesta Hotel on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, and that was the hotel outside of which that vehicle drove into the crowd of people and killed those people and injured many more on Bourbon Street. That terrible story. And every time that story came up, I saw the sign of the hotel, and we stayed there. And it kind of gives you a chill when you've experienced something like that. So I kind of wore the T-shirt in memoriam of New Orleans, and also in celebration of the Super Bowl. Jasmine, Jasudavicius. She is a force of nature. Where are you right now, Jasmine? You're in a vehicle somewhere. Where are you?
Yeah, I'm just driving. We're going to visit Chris's mom for a little bit.
Okay. So, first of all, thank you for coming back on the program as often as we have you, because you're just a treat for me to talk to every time we have you on. And secondly, congratulations, another milestone in your UFC career in Saudi Arabia. That must have been incredible for you.
It was unbelievable. It was like quite the experience, and like just so grateful that I was able to be the very first female fight like under the UFC banner in Saudi Arabia.
That's it. Those two things don't seem to go together for most of us that know anything about Saudi Arabia and the Middle East. Is women are not always treated with respect in that part of the world. How did that feel for you?
I actually found them like very respectful and kind. Like I feel like how they're portrayed in the media is like different than getting there. Like I was thinking that like no one was gonna kind of like talk to me, or like when I was walking out there wouldn't be any like people doing like the high-fiving and handshaking, but like they were super receptive. Everyone was like cheering. They were excited for the fight, and like being there, everyone was like super kind to me.
Well, that's good to hear. So you probably expected to be a little uncomfortable, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, I was like pleasantly surprised.
Oh, that's great. Now, tell us about your record is now 13 and
13 and 3.
13 and 3. And this was this was a unanimous decision. I think all the judges gave you like a 30-27. So it was a pretty hotly contested fight. You had to dig this one out, didn't you?
Yeah, I had to go to decision. Luckily, it was unanimous, not a split decision. So, I mean, I was like dominant everywhere in the fight in the judges' eyes. So it was a great fight and like a great opportunity for me to like showcase women's martial arts.
And again, quite a feather in your hat, because I mean, as you mentioned, the first woman ever to win a UFC event in Saudi Arabia. So, and they'll never take that away from you. That's there forever. And when the last time we talked, you never seem to know where your next opportunity is going to be, or where when the next fight is, or who you're fighting, or whatever. How did this one come about? What's the backstory and how this fight happened?
So after my last fight, then like the UFC contacted my management and like said, "Oh, does she want to fight again? Like, we have this opportunity come up." And the girl I was fighting, her name was Mayra. She fought for a title before at the weight class above. So, like, I knew this opportunity would be a big one if I beat like a person that was like formally fighting for a title. Mm-hmm. Then that obviously like shows well for me. So I knew it was a big opportunity to jump on, and I took it. And you know, it's in Saudi Arabia. I thought that'd be like a cool experience. I did camp in Thailand. So yeah, just like jumping on opportunities that present themselves.
Well, you certainly took advantage of that opportunity. No question about that. Okay, so we'll go forward now. What does obviously this is going to increase your standing or ratings, or however the pecking order of is where you're rated in the sport. Have you found out yet what this has done to your ranking?
Yeah, so now I'm ranked number 9 in the world right now.
9, and that's up that's up quite a few spots, isn't it? Oh, we froze a little bit. What were you before this fight?
Sorry.
No, that's not your fault.
I was number 12 before.
12. So we're in the top 10 now.
Yeah.
That is just absolutely spectacular. And
yeah, cracked the top 10.
It never ceases to amaze me, because I always kind of want to go onto the personal side. The sport that you're involved in is definitely not for the faint of heart. This is a pretty brutal way to make a living, or to make your mark in the world. I can't imagine what it would be like to be your mom or dad, because I don't think I could watch.
Yeah, my dad doesn't enjoy watching. My mom, she's become a fan. Like, she even watches other fights now, and you know, she's very like interested in like the kind of what is all involved with martial arts. My dad, he doesn't like watching his little girl in there.
No, I can't imagine that either. Because if I was your dad, I think I just want to hear the story afterward. But that being said, you said on one of our earlier interviews, you're a quick healer, and yeah. boy, you clean up pretty good.
I'm very grateful. I didn't take almost any damage the last fight. I had a little bit of a black eye, a little bit of bruise here, but literally nothing. It was a good fight. That's what you always want.
Lee, maybe I can hop in here and ask you a question.
You can hop in whenever you want, Kevin.
I think it dovetails to that perfectly, Jazz, because, you know, as you win more and now you're on international stages and your name is known all over the world, what other opportunities have opened up as far as, you know, sponsorships and getting that face as the ambassador for some brand? Are you starting to get approached, or people looking to put Jasmine Jasudavicius behind their brand?
I mean, I haven't been approached yet, but hopefully something good will come up soon.
Well, you're certainly on the right.
How do you go about getting sponsors at this point, Jazz? I mean, is it still really grassroots? I mean, you won 6 of your last 7 fights, all in the UFC. Millions of eyeballs have been on you. Surely, you know that. I just hate to hear that you're making cold calls, or you're going door to door looking for sponsorship for somebody that just, you know, kicked the crap out of a girl in Saudi Arabia.
No, I'm thankful that I actually have like a media team that like helps out with all that kind of stuff. So luckily I've got a couple sponsors, but I'm still waiting until like Pedialyte hits me up, or Nike, or, you know, one of those big ones.
So You're a flyweight, right?
Yes.
Okay. When do you think you're going to have an opportunity for, in your world, to call it a title fight? Is that something you work toward as fast as you can, or do you just have to kind of claw your way up there?
Both. I'm trying to claw my way up as fast as I can.
Well, you're doing it.
Yeah. No, I don't know. It kind of depends on what opportunities present themselves. It depends on when other girls are planning on fighting. So hopefully I have like 1 or 2 more fights, and then I'll be able to fight for the belt. But, you know, I'm hearing that there might be a title fight in Montreal in May. So I'll make sure I stay ready in case one of the girls has to pull out and I can jump in there. We'll see what happens.
Atta girls. So you're, like always, you're not quite sure where your next fight is going to be or against whom. You're just kind of letting the dominoes fall as they go, right? Right now?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, listen, as always, we're proud of you. I think you are a force of nature. I don't know how you do what you do and do it so well, but it's amazing to follow you.
Yeah, Lee, I got one more thing just before we let you go, Jazz. I mean, we've always talked about, you know, fighters have to have cool monikers, and I saw you referenced online. I think it was an MMA publication called you the Canadian Bulldog.
Yeah.
Is that who Jazz is now? Like,
is that what we call you now?
I guess so. That's what it seems like. Some people are saying that, but yeah, I'll take it.
Well, you're better looking than a bulldog. I'll give you that.
Oh, thank you.
And again, we're glad you pretty much did come out of this one without a mark. But congratulations when you win a fight by decision. Again, it's a long haul, and it's just marvelous. And again, we'll continue to harass you and talk to you as often as we can. So just be prepared. This isn't the last time you'll hear from us.
Looking forward to the next one.
Okay. You take care. Enjoy your time off. Bye.
Thanks. See ya.
Bye.
Oh, and that's nice. She's taking time out to go see Chris's mom. And, of course, Chris, her fiance, who I believe runs Niagara Top Team. Well, and the one that actually got her into MMA in the first place. Yeah,
because he was training in that, as the story goes, as we understand it. He was training in that sport, and she was dating him, obviously, and it's like, I think I'd kind of like to try that. And that's how it all started.
Hope I didn't put undue pressure on him. I don't know if they're engaged or not. I think I said fiance. It might just be boyfriend. Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
Might have slipped up, Lee. Speaking of kind of romance and things like that, I imagine a lot of people are going to be getting engaged on Friday, being Valentine's Day. But the NRP, ahead of Valentine's Day, are warning us of romance scams amongst all the other scams going around.
Yeah. So many. Kevin is going to tell us about his before the show's over as well. Nevertheless, what he's talking about is here with the Valentine's Day coming up. The OPP is raising awareness about romance fraud. Now, there's probably a lot of jokes around that phrase, but that notwithstanding, it continues to cause all kinds of financial and emotional problems. In 2024, Canadians reported losing over $58.5 million to romance fraud and $310 million to an investment fraud. Now, that's according to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Center. Increasingly, romance fraud involves or leads to cryptocurrency investment schemes, which can increase victims' financial losses a great deal. The people behind these schemes are increasingly using more sophisticated tactics, including artificial intelligence, to manipulate victims with fake voices and images. Bad faith actors establish trust and emotional intimacy through fake profiles on social media, dating platforms, and other online channels. Then once trust is gained, the victims are pressured into sending money or investing in fraudulent business ventures, etc., and they often begin through those fake profiles, as we mentioned, or unsolicited messages on dating applications, social medias, emails, and you know as well as I do, there's all sorts of these junk mails. Like, all things will pop up on your Facebook page or wherever. It's amazing the algorithms that exist out there in the social media world that you can get tagged on for some bizarre reason. Money for travel, medical emergencies, family assistance, often claiming urgency will get you sucked into this. Help receiving money, potentially leading the victim to unknowingly participate in criminal money laundering schemes. These people are pretty smart. If only they were able to use their intelligence for good instead of evil. So you have to watch for some signs. For example, if someone you've never met in person declares that they love you, or they're infatuated with you, or they really, an unrealistic feeling for someone that you don't even know. The bad actor will quickly want to move the conversation to a private kind of communication. In other words, if they contact you in a dating app or whatever, they'll try to get your personal email so that the communication will stay just between the two of you. So it's out of the public persona.
Lee, if they don't get you coming, they get you going.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the romance scam. Okay, I got to watch out for that. And the NRP also warning us about the ATM scam. So, so now what? Every time you go to a bank machine, you got to be worried. Somebody's scamming you.
Mm-hmm. This has been around for years as well, but they're getting more sophisticated with the technology, and every time law enforcement or criminal prevention organizations come up with a way to stop or add security to a system, there's always a different way to get around it. The incident will typically unfold, the ATM thing, when a suspect approaches the victim at an ATM claiming they've dropped a $5 bill on the ground nearby. The victim is distracted by the suspect. Another one quickly swaps out the victim's bank card with a counterfeit or blank card. The victim then remains unaware of the theft, of course, until it's too late. And again, they're very, very smooth. They're like the ancient pickpockets in the old days, where you can get your pocket picked and not even know it for ages.
And then, Lee, the NRP also warning us about the taxi cab scam.
Yeah, this one we've talked about a few times.
It's like I said, coming, going.
Someone will say they can't. The cabbie won't take my card or whatever, and if you pay cash, and I'll give you a watch. There's all kinds of different taxi cab scams. They just need you to help them out of a jam, and then you end up being in a jam yourself, as the story goes. Now, Kevin, you yourself were a victim of a very creative kind of credit card loyalty program scam through what? Canadian Tire?
Yeah, so through CTFS, and a lot of us know, a lot of our friends from Feulled work at Canadian Tire Financial Services,
yep.
And I have one of their credit cards, and like a lot of people, you begin to accumulate the Canadian Tire money, or the loyalty money as they call it now, over years and years and years. My wife and I decided over the holidays, we should start to spend some of that money. Like, we should buy gifts from Canadian Tire, from Marks, from Sport Check. So
it's your wife's birthday. Buy her a power drill or something.
I had $300 or $400 accumulated, so I went to make a purchase there a few weeks ago, and I only had $34 left. Well, that's strange, but of course, the woman at the cash register, she's not going to help me with this one. It's not her job, so it's okay.
How much did you think you should have?
About $400.
Oh, my.
Yeah, I thought I had about $400. She told me I had $34.
Oh.
Lo and behold, I call CTFS. They dig into it. Now, if you have a Canadian Tire credit card, here's something to watch out for. There is a mechanism within that credit card that allows people to share their Canadian Tire money or their loyalty money with another individual. So let's say husband and wife. Right, it would make sense. So my wife and I each have our own independent credit cards. Whether we pay it from the same bank account, but it doesn't matter. Canadian Tire doesn't know that we're married.
Sure.
But I could go in there and say, okay, I want to share my loyalty points with my wife's card. So somehow, and I don't exactly know how, people from Markham were able to infiltrate my card, and move my loyalty points into...
To them.
To them. It really didn't move them. It gave them access to it using their card.
Wow.
So I called the guy and he said, okay, did you make this $34 purchase? Yes, I made that purchase in St. Catharines. Okay. 2 days prior to that, did you make these 2 purchases in Markham? I said, no, sir, that was not me. I was nowhere near Markham. Do you know, and the person's name was like Sneath Wallace.
Okay.
Like, nope, no idea who this person would be. Never heard of that person. Okay, put me on hold, comes back and says, you know what? We checked everything. They're doing an investigation. Then explain to me how that scam works. That somebody was able to convince, I guess, someone that they were in fact me. And my credit card itself was not compromised, but they were able to convince them that they should have access to my Canadian Tire money. And made 2 separate purchases, $100
So something was hacked somewhere so that your name popped up as a Canadian Tire loyalty member.
Exactly. I have no idea exactly how it worked. I'm assuming that's part of the investigation.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, they already do have the name of the person because they would have made a purchase
with their card.
Right.
But using your points.
Exactly. But that could be a fake name and a fake address. Who knows how deep the scams run, right?
Wow.
But yeah, that was something to watch out for. Then also, Lee, at the heels of the last program 2 weeks ago, an old Hotmail account got hacked.
Wow.
And as a result, they got into my Facebook because I set up my Facebook so long ago that I was using a Hotmail account.
Right.
And really, that's the only reason I kept it open. So my Hotmail was hacked and my Facebook was hacked. And it took me 3 days to get my Facebook back. Now, it's not the biggest deal in the world. I understand, oh, boo-hoo, first world problem, but it's pretty significant. And when you're sitting there not knowing if tomorrow I'm going to regain access, maybe the next day, maybe it's gone forever.
Part of you running your business requires these kinds of connections. So how does that keep you from having access to your Facebook account? So they just take it over? Is that what happens?
They got in and I guess changed the password. And the funny thing is, you go through some of these mechanisms, right? And it's not unique to Facebook where you try and log in and they say, okay, create a new password. What we're going to do is we're going to send you a code to your cell phone, or to another email account, or another
we get
device.
That all the time.
Right, you get that all the time. So they send you the code. I punch the code in, and it tells me, sorry, that code does not match.
Ooh.
So they're running some sort of bot software in the background.
There's some parallel thing going on.
It's doing it faster than I can do it, and I guess changing it, or I don't know what it was, but it took me 3 days before it finally worked. And I don't know what special sauce or combination of things that I did to finally regain access. And of course, as soon as I did, I changed my passwords to something much more complicated. I, unattached the association between the Hotmail account and my Facebook account.
Yeah.
And here we are. We're back. We're back. We're back live. But that was an ordeal.
So is there another Kevin Jack out there somewhere pretending still, or would that account would the new bogus account have been discontinued?
I don't think it was that one that you see a lot of times where there's like a clone of Lee.
Right.
That's making friends. This was they actually got into my account, but it doesn't seem as though they did anything while they were in there.
Interesting.
Now, I was a little worried for Nick in Niagara 411 because I have access.
Right.
And everything, Nick has built himself a little enterprise here over the last 10 or 15 years. And if all of a sudden some Russian hackers, figured they were from Russia, because they did attach some sort of app onto my email that was a .ru, which I think is Russia. Damn you Russians. But yeah, it was crazy. And just so you know, Lee, I did have some signs in the days leading up to that. I would get a notification, I don't know if you've got this, that said that somebody just tried to log into your Facebook. Was it you?
Oh, yeah.
And it was from Africa.
Oh, yeah, that's happened to me before.
And I just said, no, that wasn't me. Okay, they blocked it. One of my friends actually said, you know what, you should change your password. Immediately, and I should have.
Yeah.
Because they tried over and over and over again, and I don't know what means they're trying, but eventually they got in.
I think it was that group Boney M that did the song called Rasputin back in the 70s. Oh, those Russians. Those sponsors. We love them to death. We really, really do. I want to go again and run down how much we appreciate our sponsors. Gales Gas Bars Limited has been with us since the very beginning. They are everything petroleum in Niagara. Family owned and operated for well over 55 years. They have 11 service stations, full and self-serve, 4 convenience stores, wholesale fuel delivery, home heating delivery, and again, Niagara homegrown and owned and operated to this very day. And it's just a fine example of what this program is all about and why we like to associate with companies that are born and bred and supported in Niagara. So Gales Gas Bars, thank you very much for being our headline sponsor for all of these seasons. As we're now in season 6, this is the 3rd episode of season 6, and it shows no signs of stopping. Sandra's Home Health Care, we thank you very, very, very much. Sandra DeLisandro formed this company back in 2005. It's been the Niagara region's choice for superior home care for all of that time. In-home care, personal support worker services, and they work very, very diligently to make sure that their personal service workers match the client's needs and personality, and is more like family than what you might call an outpatient kind of service. So we're just absolutely thrilled that Sandra's Home Healthcare has joined the program as a sponsor. Happy 20th anniversary, 20 years in business already, and setting the standards so high. Verge Insurance, Mark Shirk and the gang have been around here for a long time. Verge Insurance Brokers, founded in 1953. My gosh, they're older than me even. That's like older than dirt. They've been around for a long time, and they obviously have been servicing their clients and customers well, or they wouldn't still be in business. Verge Insurance Brokers, life insurance, auto, home, whatever your needs are, they'll match them with your budget and figure stuff out for you. Because as we've talked about frequently on this program, making sure that you understand how your insurance works is pretty darn important, no matter what kind of insurance it is that you need. Ace Alignment also. Just a small place off Geneva Street on North Avenue behind the police station in St. Catharines. It's on Welland Avenue. But man, these guys know what they're doing. They specialize in just about anything and everything your vehicle might need. And you see there on the screen, wheel alignments and brakes and suspensions and front ends and work, and just about anything and everything. Janice Pretty is the owner, been in a family business for a long time. Head mechanic Darren Miller, senior mechanic Matt Crumpton. Those are the 2 guys that are the workaday fellows you want to talk to if you have a need for your vehicle. So check them out, Ace Alignment. And the fellows that Kevin and I often would not be able to do without as suppliers of their services and hardware and software and tootling when things go wrong. Mac Outpost in St. Catharines, everything Apple in St. Catharines. And this isn't just a place where you go into and say, I want to buy a phone or I want to buy a computer. You can certainly do that, but all the support, all the knowledge that these folks have is extensive. And when you see Apple authorized reseller and service provider, that Apple authorized part is a pretty big deal, because it takes some hoops to jump through to be able to get that accreditation from Apple. And believe me, these guys know what they're talking about. Sean, the owner, Derek, the head tech over there, is a fellow that I work with quite a bit, and they're great. Lake Street in St. Catharines, in that Dollar Tree Plaza where the Tim Hortons is, across from Don's Lighting, so check them out. So thank you to all those sponsors as well. Now, you have been exposed to an example of a new apparel line that has been announced and released here in Niagara. That hat that Kevin is wearing. That's just one piece of the line of apparel that WeCANApparel has produced here in Niagara. The brainchild behind this, the owner, operator, inspiration is Jean Garand, lives in St. Catharines, originally from Welland. Jean, welcome to the program. How you doing today?
Have we got you? Yourself?
We're fine. We got a bit of a delay, but you can see and hear us okay?
Yeah, I can see you guys all right.
Okay. So we do have a little, I don't know if you can catch it up. We got a bit of a delay, so I'll wait for your answers after I ask you. First of all, thanks for taking time out, because I know you're busy working today, but thanks for being here. I guess the first obvious question is, what is We Can Do Better? You've designed this apparel line, and we're going to find out how we can get it in just a few minutes. But tell us where the inspiration for this came from.
So I'll start with the We Can Do Better on my hat here.
Okay.
That statement is basically in reference to the current Canadian landscape, and it advocates for progress by highlighting Canada's untapped potential and the need for improved cost of living for Canada's citizens. So the We Can Do Better is, we're Canada. We're known around the world for being kind people. We're part of NATO. We're part of, lots of great countries that are doing great things. But I feel like we've been kind of missing the plate for the last few years. And we have a lot of potential here in Canada. And this brand comes from the heart. It comes from pride of being Canadian. As you can see on the shirts behind me, it's for the love of Canada. We can do better. So it's about bringing that positivity. I guess the concept came from, over the years. I'm 30 years old. By the time I was 30, I thought I'd have a family. I thought I'd have a house, a car that's reliable, things like that. And I didn't expect to grow up and find myself in this economic situation where I can't afford a home, I can't afford a house, and while the question about having children becomes a pretty big question, a pretty big undertaking if I do decide to have family.
Jean, you bring up a topic that is front and center in a lot of people's minds, but to actually talk with someone of your age and have that so graphically painted as a clear picture of a struggle that so many young people, and sometimes not so young people, are going through, coping with the situations that we are coping with. And one of the things that I thought you have really done well with, and I don't know whether it was just an accident or what, is the timing of this initiative of yours seems to be right to me, because Canada has now become almost one of the most talked about countries and one of the most often articulated words in our dialogues around the world with what's been happening internationally. People have often said Canadians don't really have a national identity. We don't have a national unity. Well, I think right now, with the whole Canada is not for sale thing, we may be more united as a country than we've ever been. And so I applaud this initiative. It's a great idea to once again bring another aspect to the conversation.
Yeah, definitely. I think this strengthens the conversation that these other brands that you're seeing are trying to, promote.
Right.
Is, in my mind, at the base of it is, if we had a stronger economy, we'd be able to take care of a lot of the other problems and issues that we're seeing.
Yeah. And often we tend to accentuate the positive, which is a good thing, I suppose, but yay, Canada. But again, to go to this new apparel line that you have, is we're doing okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing okay.
Yeah.
But we've still got some work to do.
Totally. And that's it. You know, I'm proud to be Canadian, but I want a future in Canada that's prosperous for everyone. And I think we can do better.
Tell us about the products now. What have we got? How do we get them? Where do we get them? How much do we pay for them? Get down to the brass tacks here.
Yeah, so the products. Everything, yeah. Let's get to it.
Okay.
So I have a website. It's called WeCANapparel.ca.
It's up on our screen
nice and easy
right now.
to remember.
Yep.
Oh, perfect. So there are toques. There's two different types of hats. There's a baseball hat that's a snapback, and then there's a baseball hat that's, I'm calling it the dad cap. So it has a strap on the back, a little bit less structure on the front. I'm sure most people are probably familiar with the dad cap.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a t-shirt here that says, "For the love of Canada, we can do better." And then we also have hoodies. And then on the front of both hoodies and a t-shirt has our logo on the front. We also have bumper magnets that say, "For the love of Canada, we can do better." And it's just trying to promote that idea, that concept that we can do better.
Yeah.
But it's for the love of Canada.
And we buy these where and how? You've got a couple of different marketing initiatives underway with the apparel, right?
Yeah, so all of these are available on my website. Free shipping for local St. Catharines orders.
Mm-hmm.
We do ship across Canada with Canada Post. All of my garments are manufactured, not manufactured, I want to say that. They are printed at Calhoun's in St. Catharines. Now, they are not manufactured in Canada. I know that's a big talking point for clothing, and I find it very interesting that people choose to focus on this aspect. For example, my clothing, although it's manufactured outside of Canada, we try to maintain as much of the revenue generated from the sales within the Canadian economy. 80% of the money that people spend on our products stay within the Canadian economy. So that means 20% of that is only leaving the country.
Yeah.
Which is a lot better than most items that people would find in their Canadian households.
Right.
For example, I woke up this morning, I was woken up on my Apple Watch, I had myself a nice cup of coffee. The coffee beans came from Colombia.
Yes.
I had myself a smoothie with some banana and some pineapple in there. Thanks to global trade, which is great for the economy and global economy, we have access to those things. I do also have a product line, a collection that's called the 95% Canadian Special Edition hoodie and t-shirt.
Okay.
The reason it's 95% is because, just a reminder, cotton cannot be grown in Canada. So any brand that you see out there that says they're 100% Canadian, ultimately, depending on how far down, the rabbit hole you want to go, it's not accurate. Mm-hmm. So the machines that they're manufactured on, hundreds of thousands of dollars, that are most likely imported from other countries. So I think it's the wrong place to focus. All I can say is that I'm doing my best to keep as much money as possible within the Canadian economy, and that my message is 100% Canadian, and I guarantee that.
And I'm glad you raised the point, because I would have asked the question anyway. And this has been, as you know, obviously, trade has been a big topic of conversation here since the 20th of January.
Definitely.
And it's a very big conversation. When someone, if someone like you, for example, were going to say, okay, I want to make sure that this hat, or your hat or your toque or whatever, I want to make sure it was made in Canada. Mm-hmm. there aren't very many places, if any, that actually make them in Canada.
No.
So
actually,
they're like hen's teeth.
That brings up a good point. Exactly. Yeah, I was just going to say that brings up a good point. I think, the idea of the brand is to try and raise as much capital as possible so that then I can reinvest 100% of those profits back into the Canadian economy to help projects that individuals are starting or small businesses that are going to be positively impacting the Canadian economy.
And who knows, maybe someday I was going to say, maybe someday you can buy that house.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if I wanted to start a business that was, going to help the Canadian company as much as possible, but I wanted to make it a clothing brand, I wouldn't be marketing to Canadians. I think the best source of income that a Canadian can get for the Canadian economy is when they export. So the best...
Well, I just had a freeze there.
Sorry, we froze a little bit there, Jean.
I was just making a point, too.
51st state, and I would market that and sell it to the Americans and get them to spend their American dollars in Canada, which in turn would help, bring our Canadian dollar higher. So when we're talking about clothing, it's really hard to, say that it's going to do something for the economy.
Mm-hmm.
But my message, that's where I think it's going to shine.
And we had, just so that you're aware, we had a little bit of a screen freeze there a little bit earlier, and I want to make that point for me again. And
Sure.
Just for a second, you said if you wanted to probably make more money and market it, you would probably market something outside the country as opposed to inside the country.
Exactly.
The way the economies work, but this is designed by you. It is they're printed. They're printed here in Niagara, and they're sold in Niagara. And as you were mentioning, 80% of the revenue stays right here at home, which is a pretty darn good chunk of the overall cost. Now, you were mentioning, I think another time that we chatted, that you had another sales avenue that you're working on with some businesses in Niagara. Before I let you go, can you tell me about that?
Sure, yeah. So I haven't officially launched that initiative, but if there's any business owners listening in, I'm going to be approaching at least, a business. The plan is to have one business in each district of St. Catharines to start with, to partner with. If we're a good fit, then I would promote, or I would have them promote my apparel in their business, and then...
Nope, shoot.
We just went like 5 minutes too long with the show today, Lee. We're doing so well.
Sorry, Jean. Okay. We'll get them back, and then we'll go.
Sorry about that. I'd love to have back. But there you see beautiful Fiddler's Poorhouse, where we will be enjoying some of those specials that we highlighted off the top of the program.
Indeed, it's almost lunchtime for us.
In a few minutes' time.
Sorry, Jean. We were talking about the algorithms of social media a little bit earlier, and every now and then one of those little gremlins jumps in and takes advantage of us in not such a comfortable way. So we want you to check it out. All right, WeCANapparel.ca. It's that simple. And we wish Jean Garand, St. Catharines resident, originally born and bred in Welland, so a true Niagaran, doing great things again here in Niagara for Niagarans, and we wish him well with that. And sorry we had such an abrupt ending to that conversation. But go online, pick up the apparel. It's pretty reasonably priced, and I can attest to the fact that the quality of the merchandise is pretty good, because that's my hat Kevin's wearing. As the folks at Beau Chapeau know, I like hats, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Lee, coming up here, if you remember, there's a local band called Putty. They kind of call themselves Putty the Band.
Yes, Putty the Band.
And we talked to Paulo way back when, and remember, Paulo had this real interesting career and life path, where now he's got an animation studio out there in St. David's.
Oh, yeah.
At the same time, while fronting this band.
Yeah.
Where, as it started as a Niagara band, as everybody kind of grew into adulthood, maybe they became a little scattered. But, through the magic of the internet and everything else, still able to produce music. And they got a brand new video for a song called What Do You Want? And naturally, it features a lot of cool animation by Paulo. So isn't that cool? Your band wants to come up with a video. Hey, by trade, I do animation, so let's make a cool music video. So we're going to feature that coming up in just a couple of seconds.
Yeah, and then we'll play us off the stage, as we always have some sort of Niagara-connected musician do that at the end of every program. Again, Gales Gas Bars, Sandra's Home Healthcare, Verge Insurance Group, Ace Alignment, Mac Outpost, Fiddler's Poorhouse, Niagara 411, and of course Kevin Jack of WeeStreem. We couldn't do it without the collective effort of all these people, so it's always a pleasure. Katherine Dodge, hope we get your father-in-law back safely tonight from the Dominican, and he's able to recuperate well. Thanks for being on the program to tell his story. Jasmine Jasudavicius, another incredible milestone for this UFC fighter that is just breaking stereotypes and records all around the world with her dedication to her craft in the UFC. So, Jazz, thanks for being here. And to Jean Garand, good luck with WeCANApparel.ca. And thanks for taking time out of your busy day to be here with us. My name is Lee Sterry. This has been Season 6, Episode 3 of Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry. And it's time to have some lunch and spend the rest of your day out there. Bye. Good luck with the weather. Your invention.